Ooh, welcome. Thank you for coming today. I'm wondering whether, Nirvana, should we get started? Okay. All right. So I just want to say thank you to everybody and welcome to our talk. And I hope everybody got here. I know the traffic is a little intense, so I appreciate all of you coming. So I'd like to welcome you all. Good evening. My name is Umbereen Inayet. I'm one of the honorary curatorial board members for Art Egypt. Super excited to be here. It's my pleasure to join you. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'll just click over here. Let's see if this thing works. I'll try again. Clicking. This is going to be interactive. Okay, did everybody go see the exhibition? Yes, all right. Let's give a round of applause to all of the artists here today. All right. Did you see it in the day or in the night or both? Both? I found it's very different from the night than in the day. What did everybody see, day or night? Day. Night? What was the main differences for you? What was the feeling at night? Amazing. I would definitely encourage you to go at both times. And then you saw it in the day. Yeah. In the day, I felt like it was like treasures. Okay, so I think we're good to go. I'm just gonna tell you really quickly who I am, just so everybody knows. So my name is Umbereen Inayet. I'm a curator of public art. I work for the city of Toronto. I've done public art exhibitions, just recently one in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I have a master's degree in psychotherapy. So I take a look at a psychological perspective in the role art plays for humanity and society. I have an undergrad in cultural anthropology. I curate 10 historical museums in Toronto. I've done Nuit Blanche for 15 years. And I do large-scale site-specific work. So let's see if I can change this. Do you want to change? Middle. All right. So that's just an example of the type of works that I do to give everybody. This is called Death of the Sun, and it's a meditation on the sun taking its last breath, and how that's supposed to make you feel about the source. It's a 55-foot inflatable sphere, and with projections on it. Sorry? And no, temporary. And with Director X, he was here earlier on today. Okay. Which one am I? Middle. All right. So I just want to welcome everybody to this talk to Forever Is Now. Forever Is Now is a contemporary art exhibition that brings together artists throughout the region of the world to contemplate the wonder of an ancient civilization through the lens created by their present-day interests, concerns, and passions. It's designed to trace the continuity of themes that stretch from the storied past to the present day, as well as to hope and dream about the future of humanity. I'm just going to take a minute to read an excerpt from Nadine's curatorial vision. Nadine Abdul Ghaffar, she talks about Forever Is Now, the third version, and she says this statement: Forever Is Now 0.3 is an ode to the enchantment of ancient Egypt's cultural heritage, while the contemporary installations are a testament to the continual evolution of art. Taking place during a tumultuous time that sees our present disturbed in a myriad of ways, this exhibition is an homage to the continuum of civilization and our relentless pursuit of life. Hope and faith are anchored within our knowledge of the past and in the unwavering belief that there is no conception of the future without the history. We look at the narrative of past achievements to find inspiration for successive generations. Forever Is Now is not simply a revival of this history. However, for the past can never be complete in the present. To gestural abstractions on convex canvases. In the 2000s, he introduced the sleek and reflective facade of aluminum into his creative toolkit, steering his artistic vision towards minimalism. His art possesses a commanding and dominating presence while maintaining an aura of effortless delicacy and meditation. So everyone, if you can please give a round of applause to Sheikh Rashid. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And over to Dionysios, the goddess of wine, or god of wine. Our next artist is a visionary Greek, multidisciplinary, lovely human and friend between Paris and Athens, Dionysios. He has a foundation in clinical psychology, super exciting, and chose to embark on an anthropological exploration through the visual arts, offering a unique perspective on the intricacies of human psyche, a central theme that permeates his artistic practice. So notably, he collaborates closely with Greek ministries of antiquities and culture, breathing life into captivating public art installations. In recent years, his focus has shifted towards larger scale works, particularly installations and sculptures where he delves into profound themes encompassing our relationship with nature, time, space, and the divine. Please join us in welcoming Dionysios. Yeah. Our next artist, beautiful, the American sculptor and author working in hyperrealism, Carole Feuerman. She's known for her figurative works of swimmers and dancers. Her unique work has been included in exhibitions across the globe from New York to Milan and is a part of 31 private museums and collections. You go, girl. That include government officials like former President Clinton to the Forbes magazine collection. In 2011, Carole opened her own foundation called the Carole Feuerman Sculpture Foundation that generates excitement, interest, and passion for the arts and inspires and awards deserving artists with exhibition opportunities, internships for college credit and education, research, and grants. Huge shout out to you, Carole. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. And last but not least, we have Stephan Breuer. I want to make sure I'm saying your name properly. Breuer. Breuer. Okay, thank you. I'm Canadian. I have to make sure everyone's, recognizing the way they do. Sorry. Okay, last but not least, we have Stephan. Please join us in welcoming the brilliant French interdisciplinary artist whose artistic journey is as innovative as it is thought-provoking. From the vibrant artistic hub of Paris, Stephan is not just an artist, but a visionary whose work seeks to bridge the tangible and the virtual. Through a unique fusion of physical and virtual dimensions, his practice defies the traditional confines of sculpture and installation. And in his pursuit of artistic excellence, he is focused on heritage-focused research and cutting-edge technologies to create new potential realities that challenge the boundaries of our collective memory. I do want to mention one of the pieces he's done is a digitization of an angel by Rembrandt, and made history in 2021 by becoming the first NFC chip authenticated artwork to be archived by the Louvre Museum. Big, big, big applause for Stephan. Okay, so I'm just going to get into the first question. I think a lot about psychology, poetry. I was at the artworks today and they were all speaking to me beautifully, but I want to hear about yourself, your practice, and if you think of art as the language of the soul, what is your soul saying through your work? Let's start with you, Stephan.
Me?
Yeah. Sorry, Sam.
Sure. Can you repeat the question again, please?
So tell us about your practice, and thinking about art as the language of the soul, what is your practice saying about your soul?
My practice, it's like a diary. Then instead, if you write in your memories on paper, I create sculptures that remind me with what I am and make me feel that I exist. So my art, it started by classical form and then slowly moved to minimalism when I moved to UK. And I create mostly one piece of my artwork because it has a purpose. It has a memory within the sculpture. I choose colors to present the vessel of my work. I'm only limited between 7 colors, but by traveling the world, I realized that all of us describe other people by color. So I started creating recently abstract sculpture that describes energy with each one, and the colors is describing the actual vessel itself as well too. It's necessary for me that I wanted the artwork to be less complicated, and I really moved by the minimalism school when I moved to UK, visiting the Tate for the first time. And I realized that is not about how long you spend time on the artwork, or how long or how short the time, how expensive the medium is. I believe so much that my art speaks about me in the time we live in. So I wanted in the future that when generation to come and see my work, understand that I lived now, and I want them to understand that despite the simplicity of my form, it's have a lot stronger meaning to myself, and therefore, when I create the artwork, I always wanted to be out there for the viewers, because artists without the viewer feels is like empty. Despite any positive or negativity about comment about my work, but I felt like being existing, it's necessary for me to put myself out there with the work that he can recognize me. But at the same time, every time I've been invited to public art, I always create something suit the location that I'm in, and doesn't have to be related to my practice. My practice, it's just something for me, and then I share it with everybody. But when I create public art, it is necessary to understand the location, the public that lives in the location, and how they can observe my ideas.
So it's like you're speaking to the public through your work, and we're inside your diary.
It's always, you need to bear in mind that maybe 5% of the people in the planet is art educated, and the rest is trying hard to understand the artist. But I want them to not to see just my art, I want them to feel my art.
That's beautiful, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, Sheikh Rashid, tell us about your artistic practice, and what's the language of your soul? What is your soul saying through your art?
Well, please call me Rashid.
Rashid.
Right. Well, what I do, I don't know whether I will answer your question correctly or not, but what I do mainly, I work in different mediums, So I do oil, I do installation work, and I do artwork that is made from aluminum. So, but each let's say, artwork that I do is based on an idea. That the idea that I think of, that I initiate, and that touches me. So the purpose of making it is really to show or to explain to the viewer, what I have in my own mind, and also given the purpose for what it is displayed for, I try to make it as close as possible to the viewer to understand it, to engage with it, to be part of it. So, for instance, I don't have a slide to show you. I do some convex artworks that, when it's displayed on the wall, that when you move, some colors changes, So I want the viewer to be engaged with the artwork. The same as the maze, the same as the labyrinth, the same as, so engaging with the viewer, with the visitor. It's like a dialogue, So mainly that is what I do, and I use other mediums, the normal, watercolor pastels and what have you, but all traditional methods, if you know what I mean, So basically that is what I do.
So if I can elaborate on that, what drove you to start to want to create? What drove you to start to want to create work? Why did you want to make art? Yeah.
what makes me, yeah, that's what makes me want to do something.
Yeah.
Either, a sort of an idea that I have, and you see, I do also, a realistic work. I mean, landscapes, and so I see something, I design something, I come up closer. Sort of a design that I have in my mind, a scenery that I do. So it depends on that moment. But also if there is a purpose, like designing for Art Egypt, so also I have to think of the idea of it. You see? So, and also, I don't work all the time. You see,
Okay.
I'm maybe not so, active, but when I have something to work for, I just skip everything and continue working for it. I need to stay back a little bit and, concentrate.
So when you feel called,
Yeah.
then you do
Yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah. Over to you, Dionysios. If you can tell us about your practice, and I know, what does it say? Like, what's your soul saying through your work? I want to learn about you and your intention.
Well, my work,
There you are.
that's my work.
It's beautiful. Woo!
Well, I like to create spaces and conditions for people to kind of get in touch with themselves and connect to who they are, what they want to be, and in general kind of have a more introspective moment. So my work mainly revolves around creating installations that I call meditation spots. And it's always on a specific universal value, whether that's love or time, truth. This one is light. And the idea is, for me, it's a meditation practice because it's a repetitive movement that I have to keep doing in order for the piece to exist. And at the same time, I want to allow the people to interact with it, step on it, ruin it, maybe make it better by covering it in gold leaf after I leave the spot, to kind of keep it alive. My pieces always function when someone is actively doing something on them. Otherwise, they just stop existing, because I really think that it's a very specific moment when you are there creating your artwork as an artist. I think we can all agree that that's the most special time that you're having. So I want to share that moment with the viewer as well. And my technique doesn't require any particular skill or any formal background. So it's really allowing the other person to be part of it and create it with me. And I think that's the main core of what I'm presenting here, and in general what I'm doing the past few years.
So you went from clinical psychology into art. How did that transition happen?
Well, I always knew I wanted to be an artist, and I mean, that's who I was. But my family, my background, I thought I had to do something a bit more conservative. So I was like, okay, psychology. This is what I really want to know more about. I want to understand how people function, what makes them be who they are, because I also wanted to understand myself better. And slowly, this research on people became more abstract. So I needed to transition to a more creative field in order to explore this curiosity I had about people. So that's how it went from psychology to art. That's the transition.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Over
Thank
to you,
you.
Carole. I want to hear about you, and you're so generous with all of the amazing work you do. You have a foundation now, so you really are giving back, and you have a generous soul. So I'd love to hear about your practice and how it feeds your soul.
Without my practice, I don't think I'd exist.
Ah.
I mean, art is everything to me, and I just want to say how much I'm enjoying hearing everyone's point of view and
That's nice.
seeing how each of us have interpreted our how we chose to do our art in front of the Great Pyramids. And everyone is so different, and I'm loving hearing about you too. But to answer your question, I knew I wanted to be an artist from my earliest days when my parents left me with a babysitter, and I took my mother's paint and I did like a Franz Klein all over the kitchen floor. I don't remember getting punished, but I do remember hiding.
You couldn't help yourself.
I loved the paint, touching the paint. I used to, like finger painting when I was little. And I always wanted to be a painter. I never knew I was going to be a sculptor. That kind of evolved. But I grew up in a Orthodox family, and my parents forbid me to be an artist. So it was pretty hard. And I wrote a book about this. I want to be an inspiration to other artists who struggle in any way. Because if you do what you love, I think that's the most important thing, even more important than being famous, because you only live once and you have to do what you love. So I do what I love. And my art, this one is about the goddess. And I really have done many, many pieces on goddesses, but I'm not known for goddesses. You kind of get known for a certain thing if you do it every single day of your life, from the time you open your eyes till the time your husband screams at you that you have to close them. But I have done gods and goddesses. I love mythology. And I just thought, when I chose this goddess, that she stood for fertility, for mothers, for peace, for love, for beauty. And that, resonates with women. And she's a strong woman, a woman that many Egyptian people also love. But what people know me for is not even my dancers, mostly my swimmers. And the swimmers are not just pretty girls with great bodies in fabulous bathing suits.
Yeah.
And that was another hurdle to jump over, because curatorially and with museums, it wasn't in style. It was never in style to do beauty. I mean, I've been in the Venice Biennale, but most of the things talk about politics.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Big, yeah.
I've already started working on my pieces for this year. But most of the things are political but not on this panel. That's why I love these artists. Most of the things are pretty grim, and artists do have to talk about peace. But my art really talks about my life. So each of the sculptures, and it could be a man, I'm most famous. The two male sculptures are my most famous ones. I did the Golden Mean, which is like Leonardo da Vinci. It's a man diving, and he has the perfect balance so that he doesn't tip over, and his body is a beautiful C-shaped curve. And I did a double Golden Mean called the Double Diver for Silicon Valley. It's in Silicon Valley as a monument. But I am known for the girls. And I did a sculpture called Perseverance, and it's pretty much the story that I want to tell, where you just have to keep going, no matter what. And believe it or not, you'll either get where you're going, or you'll enjoy the journey. But I did Balance. One day I said to myself, God, all I do is art. I need to spend time with my friends, with my family. I need sculptures, and it could be a man. I'm most famous. The two male sculptures are my most famous ones. I did the Golden Mean, which is like Leonardo da Vinci. It's a man diving, and he has the perfect balance so that he doesn't tip over, and his body is a beautiful C-shaped curve. And I did a double golden mean called the Double Driver for Silicon Valley. It's in Silicon Valley as a monument. But I am known for the girls. And I did a sculpture called Perseverance. And it's pretty much the story that I want to tell, where you just have to keep going. You have to, no matter what. And believe it or not, you'll either get where you're going, or you'll enjoy the journey. But I did balance. One day I said to myself, God, all I do is art. I need to spend time with my friends, with my family. I need more balance. So I did the sculpture Balance. And then I did, it's true. That's what we do as artists. We get carried away. And you said something that reminded me of my own story. When I'm doing my art, I'm not hungry. I'm not tired. I'm not even in this world. I don't know where I am.
You're in flow state.
Yeah, I'm in another space. I'm totally, that's the space you always want to be in. I never had to do drugs or drink because I'm in a better space when I do my art. And let me see, where did I leave off? I have, a little bit more about me. I have 3 children. I have 3 stepchildren, but all their spouses are part of my family. I have 6 grandchildren with 1 on the way to be 7.
Nice.
I travel all over the world because I love people. I love meeting different people in different cultures, and it inspires me. Many of my sculptures, if you get to know my work, are people from various cultures, if not India or China, Europe, just all different cultures. But you have to get past how pretty they are to really see what they mean to you. But if I could write better, I wouldn't be an artist. So I communicate through my work. And
Yeah, so literally is the language of your soul.
yeah, is there a?
There's a cat.
I'm allergic, so they love me. But it's okay as long as I don't touch them. Every single place I go that has a cat, they only want to snuggle with me.
Aw.
But this has been an incredible experience because I've never been to Egypt. And one of the things that I love about Egypt is the people. They are warm and friendly, and they have generous souls. And I'm going to take away something from this to create another piece.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I agree. The warmth and love here is so strong. Over to you, Stephan. Please tell us about you, your practice, how you got to creating work, and what does your soul say through it?
Hello?
Yeah, there you are.
Hello? Yeah. Well, I started with very, very humble means. When I started, the first decision that I made was to limit myself to work with just one computer and one phone and nothing else. Then I focused my work on one single software where I conceive all my projects visually, which is Keynote, which is a very limiting software, which is not even a software for art. It's just when it came out, it's Steve Jobs created Keynote to present the new iPhones, the new product at Apple. So I used this, and the language from Keynote is extremely limited. It's just circles, squares, rounds, triangles, lines, and that's it. And I was like, how far can I go with one computer, one phone, and such a limited language? So that was you have to create your own limits at one point, and within these limits, you find your infinity. So I started, the reason why I really started to make works was my encounter with monuments. I arrived exactly 10 years ago at the Imperial Palace of Compiègne, which is one of the 3 royal castles in France. There is Fontainebleau, there is Versailles, and there is Compiègne, which no one knows. And I fell in love with Compiègne because it was created as the anti-Versailles. So it's no gold, no nothing, super pure, white, super absolute. And I went there in a special condition where I had a private tour with the director and everything. And I arrived in a space called La Salle des Gardes, which is a huge white neoclassical, the most beautiful neoclassical space in France. And I just fell in love with the space. It was huge, like double, triple this room. And I told the director, in 1 year I will make an exhibition here I had never shown anywhere. I had no gallery, no sponsors, no nothing, no zero nothing. And just the relationship with the architecture gave me so much power to make things possible. And so my work is always very much related to physical spaces, but the funny thing is that I barely never go there. So I go there once, or never, just like, for example, Egypt. I never came here before. I just conceived everything from understanding the space, from the photos, from the AutoCAD. Go there once, or never, just like, for example, Egypt. I never came here before. I just conceived everything from understanding the space, from the photos, from the AutoCAD plans, from, you know, trying to see where to be located, etc. And in Compiègne, actually, I went once, and then I made photos, and then I reconstructed the space in my mind as if I had a VR headset, you know, and tried to just immerse myself in it, but like mentally. And I was able 1 year after, as I said to the director, to make this exhibition. Actually, it was I installed a prism of pure light in the center of the Salle des Gardes, which was 11 meters high, which was a reflection on the idea of the origin. Well, not even the origin, like a moment that exists before. Well, maybe we're not going to go to that, but a moment that exists before the creation of time and space, which is called Tzimtzum. Maybe you know about it. You know, the Tzimtzum is a very important concept that explains the idea of the contraction, the fact that it's a very interesting theory because it goes at the opposite idea of what the Big Bang is about.
Yeah.
So what they say is that there was not nothing at first.
As dark matter.
There was everything.
Yeah.
God was everywhere, and his light, his simple light, filled the whole universe. But there was only room for him. So what did he do? He limited his infinite. This is the Tzimtzum. He limited this infinite. So he retracted light into himself and created a void, a space of void, in which we are. So we are in this void, and above this, outside of this void, there's another infinite of pure light. Anyway, I was very inspired by this by this idea because I thought it was extremely abstract and very beautiful. Anyway, so this prism represented this idea of the void and the openness and the fact that he gave and we are the entity that received. So it was an exhibition about giving and receiving and how these two energies are fundamental. Anyway. So from there, I continued my exploration of works with monuments and creating very ambitious projects. And another research that I started like 3-4 years ago was my research on icons. I was very, very touched by, actually, I met my wife, Inessa, who's in the, hello, who's in the, who is in the audience, and she was an art student at the time and studying art history. I was more into minimalism, land art, art from the 60s, American art, all these weirdos, Michael Heiser and all these guys,
Pretty good.
Yeah. But I was not very much in tune with art history per se. You know, I was more into conceptual things. And Inessa would come back home with her studies, and she was like, "Do you know this painting?" I was like, "No." "Do you know this painting?" I was like, "I know." "You know this painting?" No. It was horrible. So I was like, okay. And so I started looking at these paintings, you know, with great interest, actually. And, you know, when you start looking at a subject, suddenly you find a direction, you know, within this magma, you know. And my direction was Renaissance painting, mostly Annunciations, you know, where the angel Gabriel comes to see Mary and says, you're going to be the mother of Jesus. So, and the paintings with the gold backgrounds, and the gold referencing another worldly, another dimension. So I was very, very interested in these. So I started absorbing all these arts. And I developed a technique of works that would on gold, exactly the same material as the Temple one. So it's gold PVD stainless steel, so it's gold mirror, and then with a system of micro lines by UV light, so I was able to create images of paintings that would be just like when they appear on your computer or on your phone, just an image of pure light without using electricity, you know? And so I started working on the dematerialization of images and making how to transform a physical image, like a physical painting, into an object of pure light. And the thing is that I wanted to link the idea of an icon in the art history, in the religious sense, the icon, and the icon is the same word that we use in the digital world, you know, an icon. So I've been doing this for the past 4 years. I started with, so I absorb a lot of images and then I just use just one, you know. It's the opposite of this other artist who uses AI. I always forget his name. He's at the Guggenheim right now, you know, with the big Refik Anadol, you know. So Refik Anadol, he takes all the images of a museum, feeds it into the AI, and then it generates, you know, a work. Me, I don't use AI. I am the AI. I feed myself to the max, you know, and then I just go out with one image. So it takes longer, of course, because I don't have the speed of an AI, but, you know, Yeah, no, I think it's very different. But in any case, so the first archetype that I started to work with was angels. So I did a first angel that I showed in Paris and a cloud. So I focused on two archetypes. One is the angel, and it was the angel Gabriel because he's the messenger. So, you know, and also he's present in the three religions. So I was very interested in you know, about it because in Islam he's Jibril, you know. So Jewish, Catholic, Muslim, everyone's united here. So I was very happy about this. Then the second angel that struck me was an angel by Rembrandt, which is the one that is in the Louvre right now. So actually, during the second COVID, all the museums in France were closed, and the Louvre was closed, of course. And this angel was in the Louvre, and I needed to continue to work. You know, I couldn't stop working just because, you know, there was COVID. You know. So I called the Louvre, you know, I told them, listen, I'm working on the icons and I need to work, you know. So, and the museum initially was made for artists, so you should let me in. So they let me in.
Yeah.
And I was able to enter, you know, into the Louvre, empty, like a Star Trek Enterprise spaceship, you know, and just to capture this little angel by Rembrandt, and then they archived the piece with an NFC chip, so. And so the funny thing, Georgia, I was trying to make a long story short, the funny thing is that after having absorbed all of these images for the past 4 years, you know, and covering all of the Renaissance art, I mean, as much as I could anyway, I arrived here in Egypt with a piece with no image. So that's, you know, the idea that suddenly you're able to take a route and then suddenly take another route.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, one of the force of the human mind, one of the forces of the artists also, and I think it's also just being able to bifurc, take a direction and then take another direction, which an algorithm can't do, because an algorithm is stuck in his own direction. He's been programmed for that. The human mind is able to go and then to contradict. Duchamp say, contradict yourself. Don't trust your own taste. So go against your So the idea of being able to shift, suddenly, and I arrived here with a piece with nothing, and that's beautiful.
Amazing. I noticed that you used the word, you put all these limits on you. Like, what drives you to say, I'm only going to speak with this, and I'm this program, and this program? Like, why are you driven to limiting yourself in these sort of boxes? Let's super quickly, before we go into the site specificity and the creation of the work.
To limit like this?
Yeah.
Well, my first education as an artist was acting.
Oh, interesting.
I studied acting, which is the only. I'm self-taught, for everything else. But my only when you do improv, you have to create a limit. You cannot do an improv on anything.
Okay.
So within this limit, you create an improvisation, which is a freestyle, of everything. But within so I guess it comes from here, I would say.
Yeah.
But I would say.
That's super cool. I think we learned something new about you through that
Yeah.
conversation. Okay, so I want to talk about site specificity and how you created the work. I want you to take us on a journey from the point of being told, or you're in the exhibition. How did you feel when you got to the site? How did you create the work? What's your intention, and what's the role of interactivity with the public? So tell us the story of the piece.
3 years ago, actually, the team of Art Egypt has get in touch with me asking if I'm interested to be part of the project. And a lot of things have been happening this year, and I couldn't be part of the project. But as soon as they spoke to me, my brain started working. It's like, okay, if I'm there, what will I do? So the idea, what you see now, actually born 3 years ago, when Art at Egypt get in touch, and I wanted to create something. You need to bear in mind that I'm not just British, I'm an Egyptian, so I need to speak to the general public that is here too. It's necessary for me to come out of comfort zone. If you look at the history of my art, I always create collections and then move on, create something else, because it feels like every collection, I'm not just limited myself, but I just feel like I'm more than just this. So every time I work in a collection, a new style, a new technique, but it'll still have this bond between all of them by my energy, I guess. Well, this year, when they asked me, I was really lucky that I already have the project, has already existed. So I wanted to create something that is not related to the pyramids, but related to the Egyptian civilization. So I know for a fact that temples is not only shown in south of Egypt, but I felt like it's necessary for me that I wanted to have something that is easier for the general public in Egypt to observe, to understand easy, but it's still describing the era we live in. So I wanted to create something that you can't really compete, as Stephan said, with the pyramids, because it's the greatest, of course. But I wanted to create something that it feels like it's maybe has been there, maybe disappeared over the time, maybe it's still under our feet to be discovered. But at the same time, I had this vision of digital era in our time, so I want to create some sort of digital drawing in space. So I really loved the idea that I don't want to disturb the view of the actual pyramid, so I want it to be open, airy, and is not heavy like a real temple, for example. But at the same time, I want your eye to complete the concept itself. When you look at a circle that is missing a small section, your eyes, for some reason, completes the circle. And I want to play with this. I wanted to create something. It's simple, minimalistic. It's not something new, but is new presentation in the location that I am in. So we never seen temple in north of Egypt before, and I want to create something that raise the awareness that north and south of Egypt is the same family of Egyptian civilization. So I come out with this idea that forever for me it's the pyramids. So now for me it's the digital, and I actually get some interviewers asking me, is the object or the artwork actually exist, or is just a Photoshop in the images that Art Egypt use? And I said, no, it does exist, but this is what I actually want to achieve. I want to achieve from the image that Art Egypt choose that is actually not there. Therefore, I call it the ghost temple. I wanted to feel like, is it there or not there? Is it just a figment of my own imagination, or is actually not? And it's necessary for me to understand the colors of the background and the colors of the actual place itself. So I wanted to create something that looks, stand out, and it still doesn't disturb you from the view. And red in Middle East in particular is the sun and atmosphere makes the red something more glorious than in Britain, because we don't have sun this much. But it felt like I want everybody to come there, understand what it is. I didn't want it to make it complicated. I wanted to make it really easy. And at the same time, when it's lit in at night, you feel it's even more digital than actually through the day as well too.
And what's the significance of the title, the Ghost Temple?
Pardon?
The significance of the title, the Ghost Temple.
It's because we never see in temples in north of Egypt. We have to travel to Luxor, we have to travel to Aswan to have this energy, to observe this. I want you to feel an energy of something that doesn't exist. I want you to feel like maybe it's there, and maybe it's not there. But at the same time, I'm not creating an artwork. I want to create a digital energy in space. And it's not related to my...
You know, they described it very, very well. Then this German scholar interpreted the descriptions into like architectural drawings. And these drawings what really caught my eye. And it's just got me the inspiration to do a fragmented labyrinth. You know, so as I said, you know, I love the idea of this mazes and labyrinth and all that. So I said, okay, let me do a fragmented one, broken up, you know, and then in different colors. You know, I used gold, I used like dark brown and copper color. I wanted it more, but there was not enough time, you know, but I kept it as it is now at the moment. And basically, in a very short, you know, to say that it's an inspiration from this drawings that caught my eyes, and the idea of having it exhibited near the pyramid, you know, the most you know, important archaeological site in the world, it just was something that one would only dream of, you know.
And what are the symbols on the pieces?
The symbol, as I was saying, you know, is it's a drawings.
Drawings.
It's a drawing. You know, this is architectural drawing.
Okay, so that exact drawing is on it?
Yes,
Oh,
this is like architectural drawings of this lost labyrinth.
Oh, okay, okay.
You know, and as you can see on the side here, these are sculptures, supposed to be sculptures,
Okay.
all around the building, the Lost Labyrinth,
Okay.
Labyrinth, and it's all around. It has different courts, and it's on 2 levels, and each floor is 9 meters. This is the descriptions, and the gates that entered it, and I hope one day, the archaeologists will discover this lost labyrinth,
Yeah.
So hope one day they will discover
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You're calling for that to happen.
I hope so, But it seems amazing,
Yeah.
to discover it, and
It's interesting because when you think of interactivity and the public moving through the work, your work in particular, people are getting really close to it. There's something really intimate about that piece.
Yeah, and also, as you can see, the pieces are, there is an inclination to each of them.
They have an emotion and how you position
moving,
them,
tipping, and I wanted the angles try to be like the angle of the temple, like in Abu Simbel and all that. They are all tapered. They're at an angle. So there is architectural design. There is ideas. There is history. All together,
It's really beautiful, and I think.
And I've done it in aluminum. This one, perforated, and because we want some of them, I wanted to be flat, but we thought of the wind, because 9 meters, 5 meters, and the wind and the support. Down we have a base that has like wings, a support. So when there is wind, like that, and bags of sand, full sand, so it keeps the weight down.
It's interesting how metal, you can feel emotion from metal. But for your piece, I found that people are feeling drawn to it emotionally, which is really beautiful.
Yeah.
And over to you. Thank you for sharing, Dionysios, about emotion, metal, gold, foil. Please tell us about, he has a beautiful durational, performative piece, a labor of love, and please take us on the journey of creating your work.
When you were talking about the wind, I was like, I didn't think about the wind.
The elements in the desert. Yeah.
Oh my God. Most of my work, I usually just travel to locations I really resonate with me. And my materials are very simple. It's just a big box of gold leaf that I carry around with me, and it's a very free type of process. So I wanted to I wanted to have the same experience here. I wanted to create the piece at the feet of the pyramids and just see what the landscape, what nature here, what the energy here gave me and what I could give back to it. That's what I always do, and that's what I particularly wanted to do here. This has been the most challenging place I've ever worked, and I've worked in some random places. So this was really a testament to working with the things that I could find here and with the land that I was working on, and it was just everything was so organic for me that it felt really like a meditation. It felt really the purpose for what I came here to do. I think I achieved it, and I'm very, very happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel a sense of fear when the wind
I
was...
felt everything. I felt all the emotions.
Yes.
I have been happy, I've been sad, I've cried, I wanted to jump off from my balcony. I stayed one day and I slept on the carpet. I did everything I could do here because every day was different. I came here with this idea of creating a perfect gold square on the floor. And the first days I was here, it was great, and then the elements started doing their own thing, and the wind took away half of my carpet, and then the humidity made it change 1,000 colors. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is what's happening here, and I can either fight it or embrace it.
Yeah.
And that's how everything started becoming more performative for me, and this idea of this piece becomes alive only when someone is nurturing it. It made me think back of what my work is actually about, because when you are invited in such a big event, you want to do something that is insanely cool and popping everywhere. But in reality, my work is about I forgot what I was saying.
Your work is about not just like...
My work is about going with the flow, seeing what's happening around you. It's called a meditation for a reason, Meditation doesn't have a purpose, and it's never fully achieved. Like, you don't have a final state. You're always working on it. You're always nurturing what you're doing. And with this piece, I've been nurturing it ever since I came here. Everyone came to help. Everyone did something on it. I don't know if I was saying it here in some other conversation we had, but there's no need for a particular skill to create what I do. It's the intention behind it, and it's what's doing with the public and the connection and the energy. Because the guards came to help. My driver made half the piece.
Amazing.
All the team made it with me, and after that I was like, okay, the audience should be doing the same thing, because you don't need to be doing, you just need some glue and some gold leaf, and you were there at the opening night, and people came and participated in it, and that's the piece. We were all meditating there, and to be able to absorb the energy of this space here and what it can do to us. Everything is always, we have so much information going on, good news, bad news, things happening all the time. Everything is big and bright, and everything is just, it's almost giving us a headache sometimes. So to be able to have a place where you can just stop and realize you're here and you're doing this, and it's a small movement, and you're repeating the same movement, and maybe tomorrow you'll come back and you'll have to do it again because it all faded away. It just makes you realize that you cannot put your ego first. You cannot just try to compete and just be the biggest and the coolest. And you just have to be present, do your best, and at the end of the day, that's all we can all do. And I think this piece is the perfect translation to this intention, and I love it. It's my favorite piece.
It's a beautiful piece, and I want to thank you for the courage you showed in being vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It takes courage, when you're beside these monumental artists and artworks and, monuments, and you came with your vulnerability and you embraced the fear, and you ended up creating something from the energy of the community. And I think that's really beautiful. And it speaks to the group of artists that you have and the community around you.
Totally.
So thank you for doing
building
that.
Having this community be created was it was what made the artwork even shine even brighter,
Agreed. Thank you so much. And Carole, over to you. I really want to hear about how you came to the concept idea. I was so proud when I saw the piece as a female, and such divine feminine energy. And tell us about the journey of creating the work.
One of the other artists had an experience similar to mine. You get, all your life you wanted to have your work in a great location, and the pyramids to me is one of the greatest locations in the world. So when they call you and tell you you're chosen, you kind of say, oh my God, what am I going to do? You have no idea what you're going to do. I don't think a swimmer in a bikini is the appropriate sculpture for the pyramids. So I sent the head of a big man. I tripled in size, like 12 foot, just a head, but they rejected that idea because they didn't want a big head of a man. So then I thought of the idea of goddesses. And I didn't know which goddess to do because there's a lot of great goddesses. So Nadine really helped me. She told me I should speak with Dr. Hawass, who is an authority on Egyptian art. But I was nervous to speak to him. So I dragged my husband to the Metropolitan Museum, to the Egyptian wing, and we studied all the gods and goddesses and the jewelry, and I learned about the culture. And it took so much time to figure it out and to come up to decide I wanted to do this goddess. And then I called all different art foundries. One needed 8 months, another needed 6 months. Someone could maybe do it in 4 months, but they wouldn't commit. So the problem was even if I want to do it, how am I going to do it in time and get it to Egypt? So it was a miracle that I was able to do the impossible by actually making it on time. And I was really excited. The sculpture arrived, but the foundry told me that the pedestal, which was supposed to be 3 tiers in the pyramid shape, wouldn't fit on the plane. Did I want to get a plane myself? They could, for a very good price of about $50,000, I can rent a place on a DHL plane, and maybe it would fit. I said, what do you mean, maybe it would fit? I can't do that. So there was a challenge right off. I had to make a new pedestal, and I only had like 2 weeks. And nobody could do that. But I found a place in China that would do it. But they didn't have time to make a new one, so I told them to cut the bottom tier off. So they said they couldn't, but somehow they did. But then I was worried that it wouldn't get here on time because it was coming so late. But when I got here, it got stuck in customs.
Wow.
And then the show was going to start, and my days were up to install it. But they got it out of customs somehow. I don't even know how Art Egypt got it out of customs. And it arrived, and we installed it, and then we put the sculpture on. But because the sculpture was made in one place and the pedestal was made in another, the stabilizing rods, the infrastructure, stainless steel rods that go through the sculpture, they didn't fit in the holes in the pedestal. And this was at the last minute.
Nice.
So I said, oh my God, I'm here and all I have is a pedestal.
You could have stood on there. That would be wonderful, too.
I was planning on it. So there was... Okay, so the next thing is how to do it. So I sent a picture to my studio manager, and he said that the reason it didn't fit is because I have the front in the back and the back in the front. Then we had to turn the pedestal. So about 12 other helpers from Art Egypt, installers, I think it took 16 men pushing it all the way around to get it in the right position. And then we got another crane, one crane moving this, and we got another crane, and we were so excited because it now fit, and they're lowering it down, but the rods were over a foot too long because the rods were made for 3 tiers. So we had to cut the rods. You were there. We didn't know how we would cut the rods because there's no electric. They had to bring in a generator. And if they cut them wrong, then it wouldn't fit. They had to cut them even, and nobody had a tape measure. Okay, so he measured it with his elbow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I was like, I tried not to panic, and on top of that, I paid for these people to film a movie of it, and it was one disaster after another. Here I paid for this whole team to film, and all they had to film was the pedestal, the crane going here, the men moving. If you check my Instagram, you'll see all the men. By the time Sarah found a foundry, thank God, and they came and they cut the rods. And the moment the rods went down and the pedestal stood, the sculpture stood on the pedestal, I think there must have been 20 installers, maybe all your installers by then came to me, and they were laughing and clapping, and we all took pictures, and it was like a real celebration. So then we unwrapped the goddess, but the cross in her hand, the good luck cross, was broken in half. And the foundry had to come back, and they had to weld it together. They came at 7 in the morning.
The day of?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The day of, and repaint it. But then there were spots all over the bronze from touching it and the oil in your hands, so she looked like she had polka dots. And I took wax and I started polishing the crown, and it got ruined. It took all the shine off. So this is like the morning of.
Yeah.
but the foundry came back, dropped everything for me. We repolished it. It's not exactly perfect, but you'd never know unless I tell you. I do, because there's a lot of great goddesses. So Nadine really helped me. She told me I should speak with Dr. Hawass, who is an authority on Egyptian art. But I was nervous to speak to him, so I dragged my husband to the Metropolitan Museum, to the Egyptian wing, and we studied all the gods and goddesses and the jewelry, and I learned about the culture. And it took so much time to figure it out and to come up to decide I wanted to do this goddess. And then I called all different art foundries. One needed 8 months, another needed 6 months. Someone could maybe do it in 4 months, but they wouldn't commit. So the problem was, even if I want to do it, how am I going to do it in time and get it to Egypt? So it was a miracle that I was able to do the impossible by actually making it on time. And I was really excited. The sculpture arrived, but the foundry told me that the pedestal, which was supposed to be 3 tiers in the pyramid shape, wouldn't fit on the plane. Did I want to get a plane myself? They could, for a very good price of about $50,000, I can rent a place on a DHL plane, and maybe it would fit. I said, what do you mean, maybe it would fit? I can't do that. So there was a challenge right off. I had to make a new pedestal, and I only had like 2 weeks. And nobody could do that. But I found a place in China that would do it. But they didn't have time to make a new one, so I told them to cut the bottom tier off. So they said they couldn't, but somehow they did. But then I was worried that it wouldn't get here on time because it was coming so late. But when I got here, it got stuck in customs.
Wow.
And then the show was going to start, and my days were up to install it. But they got it out of customs somehow. I don't even know how Art Egypt got it out of customs. And it arrived, and we installed it, and then we put the sculpture on. But because the sculpture was made in one place and the pedestal was made in another, the stabilizing rods, the infrastructure, stainless steel rods that go through the sculpture, they didn't fit in the holes in the pedestal. And this was at the last minute.
Nice.
So I said, oh my God, I'm here and all I have is a pedestal.
You could have stood on there. That would be wonderful, too.
I was planning on it. So there was, okay, so the next thing is how to do it. So I sent a picture to my studio manager, and he said that the reason it didn't fit is because I have the front in the back and the back in the front. Then we had to turn the pedestal. So about 12 other helpers from Art Egypt, installers. I think it took like 16 men pushing it all the way around to get it in the right position. And then we got another crane, one crane moving this, and we got another crane, and we were so excited because it now fit, and they're lowering it down, but the rods were over a foot too long because the rods were made for 3 tiers. So we had to cut the rods. You were there. We didn't know how we would cut the rods because there's no electric. They had to bring in a generator. And if they cut them wrong, then it wouldn't fit. They had to cut them even, and nobody had a tape measure. Okay, so he measured it with his elbow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I was like, I tried not to panic, and on top of that, I paid for these people to film a movie of it, and it was one disaster after another. Here I paid for this whole team to film, and all they had to film was the pedestal, the crane going here, the men moving. If you check my Instagram, you'll see all the men. By the time Sarah found a foundry, thank God, and they came and they cut the rods. And the moment the rods went down and the sculpture stood on the pedestal. I think there must have been 20 installers, maybe all your installers by then came to me, and they were laughing and clapping, and we all took pictures, and it was like a real celebration.
Yeah.
So then we unwrapped the goddess, but the cross in her hand, the good luck cross, was broken in half. Then the foundry had to come back, and they had to weld it together. They came at 7 in the morning.
The day of?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The day of, and repaint it. But then there were spots all over the bronze from touching it and the oil in your hands, so she looked like she had polka dots. And I took wax and I started polishing the crown, and it got ruined. It took all the shine off. So this is like the morning of.
Yeah.
But the foundry came back, dropped everything for me. We repolished it. It's not exactly perfect, but you'd never know unless I tell you.
Thank you for
At
sharing.
any rate, it was their celebration was the people who helped me. That everybody from the foundries in America to the foundry in China to the people in Egypt, all pitching in to make this work and never give up. And it's been quite an experience. But I will say, I think my movie's going to be better for the drama.
Absolutely. And why did you choose the goddess Hathor and the contemporary
yeah, that was
reading?
the question.
That's okay. I love that too. Like, the dress is a
Okay.
tube dress. I want to hear about your choices.
Well, there was no choice. Once I learned about the goddess Hathor, Dr. Hawass, and I bought his book. His book's rather big to have it shipped to your house. It like weighs 50 pounds. But once I read about her, she was the goddess for me. You know, she was the goddess I resonated with. And then I was thinking, I'm so glad they didn't want a big man's head, because I'm all about women. You know, I really am. I believe in women. I want women, you're going to hate this, but I want women to be world leaders, because I think if women were leaders, we wouldn't have wars. Women don't want to see their children killed.
Cheers.
So, and especially with this war, I think the goddess stands for peace. And when I look at it, it takes on a whole other meaning than it did before the war. You know, so I am excited. I hope my goddess is embraced, because she's a contemporary woman. She's not really Hathor. She's in the likeness of Hathor. She's us.
Yeah.
She's us. She's a little bit of us, and I want women to trust themselves, and we should all love each other all over the world.
Yeah. And you're showing the potential of what female leadership could look like. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. And Stephan, over to you. I want your inverted pyramid, and I know that your brain is going to have some genius thing inside of it to say on how you came up with this, with the limits of that.
Did you see his photography?
Facing, you know, when you're, well, first of all, we have to speak of the location of this piece.
And
because
how did
this
you?
is very, very, very important. We are here on the plateau of Gizeh, on the Gizeh plateau. This location, point number 5. Is actually the exact axis where all 3 pyramids become one perfect triangle. So you can see here Mykerinos, you can see Khephren, and you can see behind, feeling the void a little bit below where it's broken in Khephren, you can see the top of Cheops. So we have here a perfect triangle. And the triangle, which is the shape of the pyramid, is the symbol, you know, they achieved, you know, the absolute perfection in technology, in architecture, in engineering, and astrology, through this shape, you know. It's not a castle, it's not a Versailles, it's a triangle. And this is very important. So, well, I was just talking about Versailles. Actually, you know, working with monuments and such powerful architecture is very, very dangerous. Because, of course, everyone gets very excited when you tell them you're going to do a project in front of the pyramids, you know? Everyone goes crazy, you know? But it's very dangerous. You know, it's like, you know, the American people who build houses to look like Versailles in Miami. You know, it's horrible. So this is the same danger here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you do something here next to the pyramid, it's more dangerous than a white cube or gallery or whatever, you know, because what are you next to this? You're nothing. So what do you do when you're nothing? Either you do nothing or you do something,
Yeah.
but very small. So reverse, just reverse, you know. And also, if we think, you know, if we think about how contemporary art was born, it was born. If we take Duchamp again, you know, it's always it. You know, the fountain is not just the thing to go to the toilet, and he reversed it. He didn't present it as it is. It's already made, but he turned it around. You know, André Breton said it looked like a Buddha. You know, so also the idea that to reverse something, you know, is, and then the idea, of course, of the oxymoron, you know, so, and of course, I love to play with perspective, and so the pyramids, you know, you told me we're at 1.4 kilometers, you know, I had to envision everything by phone, by email, by AutoCAD plans. And then it started, you know, forming a unified idea of reversing the idea of the pyramid, not to make fun of it, of course, but to, because, no, I mean, not to make fun of it for sure, but just to see how could we build a new form of pyramid in the sense that everything the pyramid stands for, how can we reverse it through technology, and how could we keep the memory of every human that comes in contact with it? So I integrated, you know, technology through NFC chips or QR codes, so people could register and receive in return a proof of attendance, which is a token stored on the blockchain that proves, and this token is called "You are in the Axis." So every person that scanned the NFC chip or the QR code, they would be registered by the work, and they would themselves get a free artwork, which is a memory of their encounter with Temple One. So that's the idea. Then, of course, the idea that this icon would float, you know, that would just levitate into the landscape. So the idea of using this crystal clear glass that almost looks invisible. So that was the idea of having this shape levitate in the landscape, which is, you know, very beautiful. And then just perfectly superimpose on the other pyramid that is far away, that is, of course, smaller, and try to reach a perfect equilibrium between the material monument and the immaterial monument, because at one point when the sun turns, so I asked many questions about the sun, trying to understand, you know, but this is baby questions, you know, the Egyptians, they understood everything. I just asked 4 questions. Where is the sun going? It's a very small thing, you know, very small thing.
I don't think it's a small thing at all. Yeah. So just a quick question. The idea of inverting it, did it just hit you out of any?
Yeah. I think also, you know, in this moment, well, where we're overcrowded with images, overcrowded with news, overcrowded with everything, suddenly just a triangle.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to, you know, it's nice. You just take it in easily, you know. It just, also it reflects, you can play with, people love to get in and see them. And it's very nice because so it reflects, of course, the clouds when there are clouds, and when you approach this triangle, you really feel you're flying, because with this inverted shape, you walk towards the glass wall, you know, and you look at, and it opens like this, and it looks very small from afar, but when you walk to it, suddenly it's a huge space. It's and like another world, you know, like the icons, like those paintings with the gold background. Suddenly reality becomes otherworldly. So that's what I wanted to achieve, yeah.
And then the energy exchange of the NFT, it's like you're telling people that they're also worthy when they're coming to
Of course.
experience your piece.
Yeah, as a fact, to reverse everything that the pyramid
Exactly.
stands for,
Yeah.
which is not to celebrate one king as
Yeah.
in the ancient time, but to celebrate everyone that comes in contact with it. Of course, yes. It was.
Yeah,
Yes.
a portal. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the idea, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
You could totally feel that when
Yeah.
you're there.
And lightness, you know,
Yeah.
super light. And the fact that I've done some shots where suddenly the triangle becomes pure light. It's not even a material anymore. So it's just a triangle of light and the pyramid material in the back. And this extremely light shape, which is the same but reversed. So it's trying to, you know, make friends with the pyramid.
It's really beautiful. So we're going to jump into the last question, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I just want to think about our why. We've been talking about why and intention for this whole talk. You know, there's a lot of questions around why artists make work. So I want to just hear from all of you, like, what's the message behind your piece, if you could simplify it, and what do you think the role of an artist is in the times that we're in? Why should we continue doing this work right now?
I think, as Stephan said, we are in a time that our imagination being flooded by so much images, so much information, so much news because of our connection through the media. It's really necessary to raise the awareness of people to be aware that art, it's beyond all of these. It doesn't bow by what's happening. It's actually doesn't have a boundary this much that keep it contained in one place. I believe that what Art Egypt has did this time, it's opened the whole global world to see Egypt, that it's not just it's a permit or a holiday destination. It's actually a culture and it's contemporary culture that exists with the time that we are. I found it really issues when I work in museum that when you say Egyptian, they expecting you to come out with some things that related to Egypt in pottery or Nefertiti's head or Tutankhamun. Art in Egypt has opened a door or a window to make you aware that, yes, we are this destination. Yes, we exist next to the pyramids, but here we are. We all under the same umbrellas of art that bring people together. And this is what I wanted to do. I always try to create object or artwork that doesn't see our difference of culture, religion, colors, education, class, all this kind of stuff, but all us that we united that under the umbrella of contemporary art.
And the digital piece that you made, everybody has access to technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's look around you. It's everybody on the phone, everybody watching TV and the computer. And this technology actually has made our life really easy. So why we don't use it as well to connect and communicate and project our thought as well too.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'd love to hear from you on the message of your work, and what role do you think artists play in the times that we're in right now?
The artwork itself, you know, being exhibited in a location that where it is now, and for Art Egypt to be able to you know, invite people, I think it's a great platform for Egypt and for the Middle East and for artists as a whole to be together here, you know. And I really thank Art Egypt for making it possible and all the team to exhibit, and I wish everybody the best, you know. But as a whole, you know, as an artist to be given this opportunity in that location is really an honor. Of course, each piece is not competing with the pyramids as a whole, but having from a distance as a backdrop, you know, it's of of course, it is something that you can be proud of, you know. So art, of course, is a living thing. It's something that we breathe every day, and then it is, you know, that we can't just stop one day and say, you know, we don't want to paint or do anything. So we will live with it. It's living with us. It's something that we can't do without, really, and it evolves all the time. You know, every piece evolves. You know, I see myself coming up with different ideas because I started something that is, you know, quite, to me, you know, quite simple. You know, why did I do that? You know, so it leads me to another one and a third one and so on. You know, so yeah, I mean, it's very important to our lives, and I thank again Art Egypt for having this, and I can see this art platform being expanded in the future, and it will be a very important event, and it will be on the calendar of the art events in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
So all the best.
Yeah,
my
and
super team here.
amazing
Thank you.
team. I think I want to thank you for what you said, because art does breathe life into your soul. And Art Egypt has created this amazing platform because we need life, we need healing, we need that. So thank you for saying that. And over to you, what's your reflection on what art, the role of art in contemporary society and the message behind your piece?
I mean, it's going to sound redundant because I think we're all kind of having the same message, but art right now, I think, should be or is going to be, whatever, it's all about healing. We are all going crazy. We're all going insane. For whatever reason, because of the media, because of what's happening politically, psychologically, yourself, with your husband, with your wife, with your kids, whatever. We're all going crazy.
Noise, there's lots of noise.
There's noise and there's stress and there's chaos and everything is just gloomier by the second. So I think right now, art should give the artist and the viewers an opportunity to just chill and breathe and heal and just become like your better version of yourself. And I think this is what art's purpose is. You know,
Beautiful.
this is what art is about.
You can come and exhale in
Exactly.
a safe space. Yeah, we need that.
And I hope I achieve the same energy with the piece I made here, because this is really what I wanted to translate, you know?
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the gift. Over to you, Carole. What's your thoughts on, you know, why we need art in the world today, and what's your message behind yours?
I've lectured on this before, and I've changed my point of view since.
Okay, I'm dying to hear.
Because as you mature and your life changes and the world changes, I think art has other purposes. My lecture, when I spoke at the Women's Forum in Houston, I said that artists can, they can change the world. They can change the world for the better. And not that they all do, but I think that we grow, we heal, and we speak. The art speaks for itself, and the art has messages. Mine has one message, yours has another, yours has another. But I think we really need music and art. It's really important, because life can't always be CNN and what's going on and people hating each other. There has to be beauty and wonderful ideas in the world, science. There has to be, because we have to be whole. We have to stop and, like you said, chill. And it was interesting. I felt safe here. I was able to actually breathe, and I kept saying to my husband, come, don't be afraid, come, you'll feel good when you get here. People are wonderful, the pyramids, the artists, come. And I've taken 2 weeks to be here, and I feel like a new person. So your art has spoken to me, and I hope our art has spoken to all of you and whoever comes to see it.
Thank you so much. And I think you're right. Being here is such a loving, it's literally a cradle of civilization. You feel cradled, you feel held. And that's really, really appreciative, all the energy of everybody here in Egypt. And over to you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the role of the artist in the contemporary world we're in right now and the message behind your work.
Yeah, my work is very intimately linked to the idea of the sublime, which I'm always exploring, and it's the sublime is not just an intellectual idea; it's also an emotion. We speak about the emotion of the sublime. So, when we're faced with the pyramids, we are, of course, totally in the sublime. There's nothing. There's the best expression of the sublime is the pyramids for all of the reasons: the weight, the grandiose, the time scale that is, everything that is the desert, the sun, everything. So we are in the sublime. So, and now, with social media, we can share this with, immediately with people. And I've been sharing images, and everyone has been telling me, thank you so much, you're my breath of fresh air in this horrible moment. Everyone is, crushed by the news, the war, everything, and we're doing something with respect. We're not doing, so people, they felt really very, very happy from this exhibition because it really took them away from the current state of affairs that is truly like miserable. And we are here running around in the desert, with our problems, with our cranes problems. What? Hey, bro. You wanted to jump out of the window? What's your problem right now? Gold leaves are flying in the air.
Yeah, 100%.
Hello?
Perspective.
Gold leaves are flying in the air, bro.
This exhibition has been a test on perspective,
Yes.
whether it's perspective
Yes.
or
Imagine.
perspective.
Yeah.
Imagine.
But isn't that nice that's what your biggest problem was?
I love it.
I love it too.
I'm so happy. That's my
Yes,
problem.
Yes.
But that's the beauty of being an artist.
Yeah.
Look, your main problem was that gold leaves were flying in the air in front of the pyramids, and you wanted to cry. That's beautiful.
It is. It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what you said is so important. That's amazing.
But
They wanted your
do you
problem
see
to
how
be their
priceless-
problem.
But do you see
Yeah.
how priceless this is? How unique.
Yeah.
Unique.
Yeah.
So this is art Egypt,
Yeah.
Plus the beautiful lunches and dinners.
Yeah. What you said about the sublime is so important. I think we need the sublime. We need the sublime.
More
it's our
than ever.
guiding light. Yeah.
Currently, the art world is really focused. The research is what? Gender, politics. I mean, please, let's go back to the sublime.
Yeah. Let's go back to the sublime.
Yeah.
Drive a lot of the media at the moment drive on our differences all the time. Artists actually doesn't see the difference, and art put everybody under the same roof, basically. Beyond our differences, we all gather in a magnificent location. It's really necessary for the whole world. It's really necessary for the whole world to understand that art doesn't see these differences that the media put between us.
Yes.
Art is always beyond this. Art is in a completely different imagination.
Yeah.
And all of our artists, and one of the most beautiful things that Art Egypt did, that proved to the whole world that the differences that you see now in the media is disappeared in front of the pyramids.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we go to the Vatican, we don't go to visit a church. We go to see
absolutely.
the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I agree.
Okay, so I just want to give everybody a round of applause. Thank you so much for all the journeys each of you have gone on to make this work that we're all consuming. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. It's been a labor of love. You've really reflected and put your heart and soul out. It means the world to us because we need it. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for Art Egypt, for hosting us, for having the courage to do this show. It's so admirable. Thank you so much. Thank you to Nadine. Thank you to the team. We love you. This is truly the beginning. Yes, I want to give a shout out to the artist Azal for your piece, Treasures, beautiful work. We're all one family. So truly, I want the world to see and know how much love and care has gone into this show, from the planning to the artists, everybody here, and the community that built the work with you. So what a remarkable, remarkable experience. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.